What if I told you a man vanished into thin air, right from the sky? Well, not a fairy tale, but the curious case of DB Cooper. In the annals of true crime, few stories have captivated the public imagination as much as this one. On a chilly November evening in 1971, an ordinary-looking man known as DB Cooper boarded a Northwest Orient Airlines flight. He was anything but ordinary, though. In a move that would forever etch his name into the annals of criminal lore, Cooper hijacked the plane, demanded and received a ransom of $200,000, and then, in an audacious act of daredevilry, leaped from the airborne Boeing 727 into the frigid, storm-tossed night over the Pacific Northwest. Despite one of the most extensive manhunts in American history, Cooper was never found. His identity and whereabouts remain a mystery to this day. On a seemingly ordinary day, November 24, 1971, a man boarded a plane, setting in motion an extraordinary chain of events. This man, who would later be known as DB Cooper, was about to orchestrate one of the most audacious hijackings in history. Upon boarding Northwest Airlines Flight 305 from Portland to Seattle, Cooper, clad in a business suit and appearing as nothing more than a regular traveler, took his seat calmly. But beneath this calm demeanor, a bold plan was brewing. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant. The note, rather than a casual message or a request, revealed a chilling fact. Cooper was carrying a bomb. The flight attendant, understandably shaken, informed the captain. Cooper, cool as ice, made his demands clear. He wanted $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes. If his demands were not met, he threatened to detonate the bomb, putting the lives of everyone on board at risk. The plane was directed to land in Seattle, where authorities scrambled to meet Cooper's demands. An air of suspense filled the cabin as the passengers remained oblivious to the unfolding situation, thinking it was a mere technical fault that caused the unscheduled landing. In Seattle, the authorities fulfilled Cooper's demands. They brought the money in $20 bills as specified and the 4 parachutes he asked for. They had no choice but to play along with Cooper's dangerous game, prioritizing the safety of the passengers and crew. With the ransom secured, Cooper released the passengers, keeping a few crew members as he prepared for the next phase of his daring plan. Then, with an air of audacity that shocked even the most seasoned investigators, Cooper instructed the pilot to take off again. The plane ascended into the twilight sky, flying into the heart of one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation history. With the ransom secured, Cooper instructed the pilot to take off again. As the plane took to the skies again, the real drama was about to unfold. The man known as DB Cooper was not just a passenger anymore. He had morphed into the controller of the plane, dictating his terms with an eerie calm. Cooper, with a demeanor as cool as the altitude they were flying at, gave his instructions to the pilot. He demanded the plane to maintain an altitude of 10,000 feet. The speed was to be kept under 200 knots. The cabin remained unpressurized. These were not mere whims of a man high on adrenaline. They were carefully thought-out orders, presumably designed to facilitate what was to come next. As the plane continued on its path, guided by Cooper's instructions, a peculiar request was made. The rear stairs of the Boeing 727 were to be lowered. This was an unusual feature of the aircraft, one that Cooper seemed to be well aware of. The crew complied, perhaps confused but unwilling to question the man holding their lives in his hands. Then, in a decision that would cement his place in the annals of criminal history, Cooper did the unthinkable. He leapt into the stormy night. The howling winds and pouring rain were no deterrent to him. They were, in fact, his shroud, his cloak of invisibility. As the plane roared on, the man who had hijacked it was no longer on board. He had jumped, armed with only a parachute and the money he had extorted. The stormy night swallowed him, erasing any trace of his daring exit. The crew, upon realizing his absence, could only stare out into the dark abyss, their minds filled with a mix of relief and bewilderment. The audacious hijacker, the man who had commandeered their flight, was gone. The plane, once a scene of high tension, was eerily quiet. And just like that, DB Cooper disappeared into the night, never to be seen again. The disappearance of DB Cooper sparked one of the most extensive manhunts in American history. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, spearheaded this monumental task. Their mission, to search for Cooper, recover the ransom money, and uncover the truth behind this baffling case. The investigation was as challenging as it was urgent. The FBI found themselves embroiled in a labyrinth of leads, theories, and dead ends. Their search spanned across the vast wilderness of the Pacific Northwest, a terrain as elusive as the man they were hunting. In a surprising twist, a small fraction of the ransom money was discovered. In 1980, an 8-year-old boy stumbled upon 3 bundles of the cash, weathered and decayed, on the banks of the Columbia River. This discovery rekindled hope, but also deepened the mystery. How did the money end up there? And where was Cooper? Despite the discovery, the trail seemed to grow colder with each passing day. The FBI scrutinized over 1,000 potential suspects, but none fit the bill. The lack of any conclusive evidence led to myriad theories about Cooper's identity and fate. Was he an experienced skydiver who had planned the hijacking meticulously, or was he a desperate man driven to extremes, who didn't survive the jump? As the years rolled by, the investigation hit roadblock after roadblock. The case of DB Cooper, initially a high-stakes manhunt, transformed into a perplexing puzzle that no one could seem to solve. The investigation, having stretched over 4 decades, was eventually suspended in 2016. Despite the best efforts of the FBI, the DB Cooper case went cold. This enduring mystery continues to captivate us, a testament to the enigmatic figure that DB Cooper has become, a man who, quite literally, vanished into thin air. Over 50 years have passed, but the mystery of DB Cooper continues to captivate. This enduring fascination goes beyond the audacity of the crime and the disappearance that followed. It's the unanswered questions that keep us hooked, the puzzle pieces that refuse to fit neatly together no matter how hard we try. Who was DB Cooper? Was he a seasoned criminal, an audacious daredevil, or a desperate man driven to extremes? The theories are as varied as they are compelling. Some believe he was an experienced skydiver who planned the heist meticulously. Others speculate that he was a disgruntled employee seeking revenge against the airline industry. Yet, there are those who propose that he was a thrill-seeker who bit off more than he could chew. The question of his fate is equally perplexing. Did he survive the daring leap into the frigid night? The lack of a body suggests the possibility, but the treacherous conditions and the fact that the money was never spent cast a shadow of doubt. Some argue that he perished in the wilderness, while others insist that he lived out his days under a new identity, the secret of his infamous act buried with him. Then there's the cultural impact of the case. DB Cooper has become a folk hero of sorts, a symbol of rebellion against the system. His story has been the subject of books, films, and songs, each iteration adding a new layer to the legend. In the end, the enduring mystery of DB Cooper is not just about the crime itself, but about our fascination with the unknown. It's a reminder that despite our best efforts, there are some mysteries that refuse to be solved, some stories that evade closure. In the absence of definitive answers, the legend of DB Cooper lives on, an unsolved mystery in the annals of American crime. The tale of DB Cooper is more than just an unsolved crime. It's a narrative that has captivated us for decades, a testament to our inherent fascination with the unknown. The intrigue stems from the audacity of the act, the sheer boldness of a man hijacking a plane and vanishing into thin air. It's the allure of the outlaw, the rebel, the rogue who dares to defy the system and for a while gets away with it. But it's also a reminder of our human need to solve, to understand, to make sense of the world around us. DB Cooper represents the unsolvable, the enigma that eludes explanation despite our best efforts. His story is a paradox, a puzzle that continues to perplex us. As we continue to ponder the mystery of DB Cooper, we are reminded that some things, perhaps, are destined to remain unknown.